Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you know what time it is. We back with another edition of the Bold Prediction Sports Media Podcast, where we usually nail things to the wall. We almost need to just call it spoiler alert. Maybe we need to change the name because when you're always on and you're hitting and you're right, maybe it's not bold. Maybe it's just the truth. I'm
We should
that dude with
accurate
the beard.
predictions, like
Right,
some.
right. Something. But I'm that dude with the beard. Y'all know Mr. KC, man. And we here, we're going to be talking a little NFL as we tend to do here, going over some team information, team situations. What's cracking, Mr. KC?
Well, due with a beard, I've just seen so much conversation lately after the draft about everyone kind of fighting for position, kind of trying to get their big dog chest up, and I kind of noticed that, someone linked me an article and it was by a media outlet that was inferior to us. So I figured since, these are being posted as factual evidence, we'll post a little factual evidence of our own power rankings and kind of give you our standings where we see the teams since we're not only bold, we're stupidly accurate. We don't
Wow.
pretend to hit 100%, but you can check the numbers for yourself, find your team, look up the predictions, and judge it for yourself based off of
Thank you.
that.
Thank you. That's all I ask. Consult the numbers before you just jump in the comments and try to consult what we're talking about. Just like I said, bring some. Just bring something. Bring some proof. Bring your comments too, of course, but bring some proof. Bring some tangible evidence, some tangible conversation. That's all I ask.
Yeah, so as you know, last week we got our playoff predictions and team records version one, a little early, but without the detailed going over the schedules and whatnot to really give us our final thumbprint on it. We were able to give you guys great predictions on the seasons. You can make your preseason bets based off of those. And I'd feel, we're going to look back at this in February and go, wow, like how, both pre draft, these guys are nailing exactly what happens in the NFL. And that's all I'm saying, folks.
Like I said, it ain't witchcraft. Maybe it's the peach paw potion.
Mm,
Maybe it's just being wildly accurate. Maybe because we actually sit and we all watch the product and we know what the product is, the ins and outs, and we watching the money. Like I said, Chris Tucker tried to tell y'all in Rush Hour, you got to follow the money, but he said it in a slightly less casual way. If you've seen the movie,
mm.
you know what it is. So. With that being said, man, you can take most of this to the bank. Mr. KC and like I said, just look at the track record. We've made good money. MGM know who I am. Hello, MGM. Like I said, we've made plenty of good money. So shout out to the NFL for being either the most predictable product for us to do this thing with, or shout out to
It
us for
is.
just using that genius level intellect and just knowing what's gonna happen. I think it's a combination of both. I'm gonna go with both.
Right. There's got to be a reason we don't talk about hockey. It's because we're not going to steer you wrong, folks. We're not going to put you off in the wrong direction. We're trying to lead you to the right way. So let's hit up these power rankings and let's show you what your team is looking at this year as far as confidence that we have in each
Yeah.
individual product.
These are
You
confidence
know,
points, if
yeah,
anything.
and Vegas has the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers, depending on the book, as the 1-2s. And I'm right there with that.
Um, for the sake of both being defending conference champions, as of right now, I'm okay with that too, as long as the clear number one is the Kansas City Chiefs. And if anybody would want to refute that, it's just the craziest thing that you could do because, like I told y'all before the Super Bowl, and I'm pretty sure I said it the last year, pretty much every time, San Fran just cannot beat us. They just can't. Y'all don't like to talk about how the Bengals had our number, all that stuff. Well, every time I see San Fran, I'm like, bro, that's a dub. Like, I don't care who they
Hmm.
got, what they defense is ranked, whatever week it is. Like, you just tell me the last time they beat us. Like I said, we beat them. If it ain't easily, we know we still gonna walk away. It's all pretty easy for Pat, but dude, Anyway, San Fran's number two right now. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'll leave it at
Yeah,
that.
and for me, I think for number three, I'm going to have to go with Baltimore Ravens. You know, you got Big Trust, the MVP that he is multiple now. You know, well, you got to crown him. And while I think they might have taken some steps back, you know, this is a quarterback led NFL. And if you're going to ask me who I'm going to go with, I'm going to go with the second best quarterback in the NFL, and that is Lamar Jackson.
Ooh, man. See, this is where we start to get a little indifferent right here. Um, I'm so confident in these dudes. As of right now, I'm putting the Houston Texans at number three, based
Ooh,
on the draft, based on recent success, and based on everything you just said about the quarterback play. I will never disrespect Big Trust Lamar Jackson. We all knew he was going to be MVP. It should have been unanimous again. Like we knew that was happening. But looking at what they got going forward versus looking at what I see CJ Stroud and them got going forward, I would be remiss not to pick the Texans. And I think the Texans ceiling is way higher. And I think they're more explosive right now. And on paper, they are the better team right now. I mean, that the Baltimore defense still highly touted, probably still be number one. They lost a couple of D tackles, but they replaced some things. But I'm going with the Texans at three right now. I got to do it. I have got to
and
do it.
I've got to fully admit that is a strong argument there. And I would almost make the case that on paper, the Texans seem to be on an upswing on improvement of roster, while the Baltimore Ravens might have taken a step back.
Yeah, and that's just really what it is. And like I said, the King Henry situation, that's a good pickup, without a
Hmm.
shadow of a doubt. It's definitely bolstering their run game. But looking at XYZ across the board, top to bottom, Houston got it, man. They're loaded. They are loaded, absolutely loaded.
Okay, and who are you going to slide there at the number four spot?
To be honest with you, at number four, I got who America has at number four. Still the Detroit Lions.
Mm.
Jared Goff and the boys out there. Until I can see what's gonna go on in the NFC with these, well, with another team that I got rated high. We'll talk about that in a moment. But right now, it is definitely Jared Goff. It's definitely the Lions, especially if they come in with the same attitude they had last year. I'm just like saying, this is preliminary. This is just starting the season, starting off. The Lions deserve to be the fourth best team in the NFL.
Yeah, and I have the Lions at four as well, and the Texans at five.
Mm.
So that
Still
I'm
top
right there.
five.
Yeah, I think they're both the top five team, and really, I I like your argument for Texans at two, and that says I think that just speaks volumes about these top five teams, in my opinion, how strong all five of them
Right.
actually
And
are.
my 15, just to bolster what he said, I actually do have Baltimore at number five. Baltimore
Mm,
is number five on my list. So we got all the same people with just different order. Different order.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a strong argument for why those teams are going to be in the top five. And for me, for number six, to kick off number six, I think we got to look at the Dallas Cowboys. You know, this is the biggest hamstring is quarterback, and even then, it's not like they're in a terrible position there. And I think that speaks volumes to the roster Jerry Jones has put together. You get funny additions like Ezekiel Elliott back, that make no difference, but, it makes you feel good story. Jerry Jones has said he wants to go all in on this season, and I think they're a team that no one really talks about enough, probably because of Dak Prescott.
Yeah, I can agree with that as far as the information you provided behind it. I don't have Dallas right there. I have them a little further down. I have the Green Bay Packers at number six
Mm.
in that spot. Jordan Love and the Packers, who didn't do nothing but bolster bolster the team. They got to getting the line together, the defense, and you get more receiving power, dude. Jordan Love, like I said, we talked about it previously, but like I said, I got views of them in the NFC Championship game this year, if not making it to the Super Bowl. So I've
I
got Green
mean,
Bay at six. I gotta put them there.
that's a team that if the cards go the way you want them to, and kind of pretty much the way you've predicted, and you've been right with them pretty much the whole time, so it's Packers fans have a lot to be hopeful there at six.
Yeah,
I'd
it's about time, dude. It's about time to get him something. I know they had Aaron all these years, but dude, it's the same old story, man. Jordan Love, like we talked about again last year. I said, bro, I can see him coming in and reinvigorating this thing because new blood and competitive blood will always win out. And it ain't like he ain't never played. Like I said, he at least he played Patrick Mahomes 3, 4 different times now. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Finally got a dub in that situation. Like, dude. Good night. Congratulations to the Packers, Little Wayne. I'm sure you're happy wherever
Mhm.
you at. The pack is back, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, this is again a strong argument there for it. And it's how do you fight against that? They've shown that they could do it when most people thought they couldn't. And
Right.
I'd probably put the Packers right there at seven for me. I think it's a real tough. I think there's the cream of the crop in the AFC is higher, but man, the NFC does seem to be slightly top heavy there.
Yeah.
In the top 10 at least.
Yeah,
You know,
they're getting their trickles in because I actually have Dallas at seven. They're not
okay,
outside the top two. Like I said, I had them slightly further down because I can see them being in a championship game losing to the Packers. Like I can see that happening. Dude, they have so much upside, and I don't think Dak is the problem at all. I never thought Dak was the problem because his numbers don't suggest he is. I just think in certain situations he gets failed by the team, and then they have uncharacteristic. Well, not uncharacteristic. It's becoming characteristic, like injuries to stars when it gets real late in the season. Like when people supposed to be getting healthy is when they tend to get hurt. So,
right.
so yeah, they don't never carry in an 80% team into the playoffs to me. So that's what really keeps them from really excelling. Like I said, and Dak goes out there and gives it his all and do everything he can in losing efforts. I mean, yeah, they are losing efforts, but dude, it's definitely not solely on him. If anything, you couldn't put the blame on him because, like I said, his numbers don't suggest it. Like you got to have somebody else step up. That is
Yeah,
plain and simple.
there is a lot of that. I would agree with you there. That's a pretty good analysis of the Cowboys. And
Mm-hmm.
at number eight, I'm actually going with the Miami Dolphins. With
I
oh,
only
oh
did that because
Miami.
I actually got them at the same spot. That's the only reason
Mm,
why I said it. Yes, I can't believe it, and I couldn't believe I was that high on Miami. But just looking at the landscape, I'm like, how could they not be right there? So I'm kind of glad you said that. So you might agree with the team I got after them, but let's talk about Miami for a minute. Yes, sir.
yeah, we got to talk. I about fell over. I'm sitting down. I have been drinking slightly, a little bit. So I really almost fell out of my chair hearing you also picking them at eight. That's got to be a great sign for you Miami Dolphins fans because to hear you with a beard put them in the top 10 is just affirmation of where I've kind of, I've been very spot on with the Dolphins. And you can check the Dolphins record last year. I think it was like we maybe 10, 11, 12, something like that before I missed a pick on the Dolphins. Like it was, my Dolphin streak was pretty ridiculous last season. So
Yeah,
um, to
it
hear,
was pretty lengthy.
yeah, to hear you joining that train right there, that spot makes me feel pretty good. I'm feeling hopeful for the Dolphins.
Yeah, just in that spot right there, you gotta do it. You gotta do it. At number nine, I got the Pittsburgh Steelers. Um,
Mm,
like I said, the AFC North is still by far the most dangerous division in all of football, and I don't care who you are. You can argue up and down all day long, but it's just what it is. Um, I would say with Russ or no Russ, just because Mike Tomlin knows how to win, because he's a better coach than Sean Payton. He's a better coach than Pete Carroll, in my opinion. Still, I'm still high on Pete Carroll. for sure. Even though he's out of the coaching position, he's moved up into the back room, if you will. But Pittsburgh, like I said, watch out. They're a playoff team, and I really think Justin Fields will probably be starting by week 3, if not week 2, if he don't win out in camp. So we'll
It
just
could
have to
happen.
see. We just have to wait and see. But the Steelers are definitely there in the 9 spot for me.
Yeah, and that's a solid choice. I can't see you going wrong with the Steelers there. Personally, I'm going to lean with Joe Burrow, the Cincinnati Bengals, right there.
Why though? They didn't make the playoffs. They lost weapons. They about to lose more weapons because people don't want to be there.
I
You
just
got
have,
Orlando Brown. I'm like, there's really no upsides here besides Joe Burrow.
and that is what is selling it for me there for the Cincinnati Bengals, because you hear me harp on it all the time with the quarterbacks. If you ain't got one, you're in trouble. You're in deep trouble. And the Cincinnati Bengals do have a quarterback. So,
True.
I think you would be hard pressed to not put them at 9. But I'll put the Steelers right there at that 10 spot. That AFC North has 3 teams in the top 10 on my books. And at the very minimum, 2
Three for
on
mine too.
yours. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
gonna put see what I'm saying?
Well, no,
So
no, no, no. Well, because I got the Steelers at 9, but like I said, I put I got the what you call it? No, no, that's only my second North pick.
yeah, that's your second
Yeah, yeah,
North
yeah,
team.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but
Because I got a different number 10. You picked, so you put Pittsburgh at your 10, right?
yeah, I'm putting Pittsburgh at my 10.
See, I got Jacksonville at 10.
Mm,
I think
mm.
I think, like I said last year, like I said, unfortunately plagued by injury, and your starting quarterback is hurt. I mean, he is an android, but he's not Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes is the only player in the NFL history who can play on one ankle and still beat your team. So I can't knock him. I can't knock him. And even though he slid down in the royal sector, he's still a prince. He's just not the prince that's promised now until he comes back with almost a revenge tour. I think this is going to be for Jacksonville. They're not going to just roll over and let the Texans take that thing. So I'm interested to see how that unfolds, and I think both of them are playoff teams anyway. But I definitely have Jacksonville at 10, rounding out the top 10 teams in the NFL going into the next season, as far as due to what the beer is concerned.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's not a terrible choice in my opinion. I actually have, you're gonna, you folks, that is the top 10 list, and you will be having to wait a minute before you hear Jags come out of my mouth. Is all I'm going to hint at. But those are real solid top tens right there. Going into 11, I really like what Atlanta did this off season. I think that's a strong move at 11. They really shored up they really just needed a quarterback to just do anything at all. And they did a lot without
Mhm.
one. And I think now that even if it's not Kirk Cousins, you have a rookie in Penix that could step in if you need him to. Kirk Cousins goes down again, and I feel real confident in your rookie quarterback to come in and be productive. And then on 12, I think I'm going to go Tampa Bay Buccaneers right there in that same division. People are sleeping on Baker Mayfield. It's real tough for me to see.
No, I understand. If you couldn't tell by the smiles, folk, I also have Atlanta at 11 because I was saying last year they should have won the NFC South. It was theirs to win, but they needed a quarterback, and now you have a quarterback. You have Kirk Cousins. Your window to win the South has never been wider. So shout out to Atlanta, number 11. And number 12, I got the Rams. I don't.
Mm.
I'm not sure how you put Tampa above them, but I'm sure you got your reasons with Baker. But if we're talking quarterback play and proven commodities and what they've done, is definitely the Rams. Better quarterback, better receivers, um, more potent defense. Even though we'll have to see if for the first time without Aaron Donald. we'll see how that unfolds. But
Right.
yeah, I got the Rams at 12. They're still strike a match kind of dangerous. They can come on at any time because they proved it at the end of the season last year. They said, okay, well, let's just go on this run and get into these offs, win a game, and then go and lose.
Yeah, I mean it's hard not to like them. You know, I hear you there.
Yes, sir. And for my next one here, before we jump back in, number 13, and this might come as a shock to some people, I have the Indianapolis Colts. I think by far the most, not most underrated team in the NFL, but they are slightly underrated. They're probably the toughest team in the league, honestly. They're never not really out of any game, even though they didn't win too many games. But the games they did win that they shouldn't have won, especially with backup Minshew, Uncle Rico, just goes to show you the character of the team. And Anthony Richardson, that dude's big. And he proven he could win. What he had won 3 games before he had got hurt and went out. So I'm interested to see what he do coming back healthy. The kind of receivers are loaded. As long as they can get another cornerback and try to shore up some of that defense before the season starts, they should be fine.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm actually going to go with my number 13 with the New York Jets. You know, I think people forget Aaron Rodgers is alive. He may be high, but he is alive. I do believe he's going to be wanting to be competitive. The biggest questions I have is health. You know, can he really make it a full season? Is he really going to be competitive? Look, they have a defense. The defense alone guarantees them to be in the top half of the NFL for me. Like, it's just how I kind of view the New York Jets. And then with number 14, I'm actually going to go with the Seattle Seahawks. You know, I hear what you say about the Rams, but I can kind of see the same thing in Seattle. They've got so much talent, and I really even like their wide receiver core more than the Rams. But I will put the Rams at my number 15 spot to get that kind of top half of the league. These are your potential playoff type teams.
Gotcha. And to build off what he said, at 14, I actually do have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield. Oh yeah, Baker definitely gonna be in the top 15. I'm not gonna undercut what he can do, but I just can't look past what some other people's done. But they should be okay going forward. I don't think they'll win the South. That'll be a whole nother story. They might try to keep it competitive, but we'll have to see. And at the 15 mark, I got the Seattle Seahawks to round out the top 15. And you already knew that's going to
Mm,
be up there for me. They got to be,
right.
yeah. So shout out to Seattle. Y'all know I won't leave y'all, man. Not as long as y'all got my boy down there, Gino. I ain't writing back.
Mm,
But that'll
right.
that's gonna round out my top 15 right there. And dude, I'm kind of happy with this top 15 right here. Just heading into the season, it seems right. It just feels right.
It truly does. And I think it's right on there, you know, and at number 16, I'm going to, you know, this is really that last playoff spot. I'm going to put the Jacksonville Jaguars. I've actually seen them as low as 23, which I
Ooh,
thought was like the biggest insult. I was like, man, you just forgot they even existed, I guess, you know. But I think it's a very flip of the coin season for the Jags. It could go real positive, or you know, this could go back to traditional Jacksonville 4-win type season magically. You know, if something happened to Android 17, like it's just it's not a it's this is a very thank goodness we got a pretty decent quarterback situation in my opinion.
and yeah, I can agree with that, especially based on that analogy. Because like I said, we got to see what Doug Peterson gonna do, and like I said, then
Yeah.
we got to see what you're gonna have a healthy Android, like you just said, going in and seeing how that thing's gonna round out. 16, I actually have the New York Jets. I got them lower than what you
Mm.
got them, but I know Ron out there. We'll see what happens. Like I mean, we saw 3 plays in last year that thing was a disaster, so it might just be 6 plays this year. He did he get that what is the ayahuasca, ayahuasca? Is it, I
Right.
would say if he's out on the farm getting high, he might be ready. I don't know, man. So uh, we'll see, man. And like I said, to me, it ain't look like Aaron wanted it in years, and it's hard for me to imagine that he's gonna want it in New York. I'm sorry. So there's that. And number 17, I'll just throw this out here before Mr. Casey gives his 17. I finally have the Cincinnati Bengals on here. Like I said, I
Mm.
don't think they'll make the playoffs again, but they are in the highly touted North. They're going to be competitive a little bit. They'll give teams run for their money, but ultimately, you're looking at a high draft pick with them.
Yeah, and that's 17. I'm going to go Buffalo Bills. I think they're going to be right out of the playoffs. They're going to win too many games to be productive for their team. But they've clearly taken steps back on this roster. You can see it just clear as day almost. And it's going to be a tough pill to swallow for the Buffalo Bills fans.
For sure. And like I said, Mr. KC, he's showing y'all love because y'all not nearly as high on my list. So that's
So
just that.
buckle up, folks.
Y'all about to say, yeah, you might want to strap in. It's good tonight because yeah, when you done fail and let these teams overtake you, I'm just gonna leave it at that here. Where are we at? We're at 18.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'm at 18. I think you're
so yeah,
right
I
around
just
there
gave the
too.
Bengals a 17. Oh yeah, let me check my list. 18, I have the Los Angeles Chargers. Um,
Mm,
just enough, just good enough to rebound to be about a 6, 7 win team, maybe five to 7 win. We'll see. They're not going to make the offs. Period. They're not
mm.
even going to be the second best team in the AFC West this year, and that just goes to show you what we. Well, what the AFC West has become, because, like I said, this is the first AFC West team I've put on since the first pick. So we
Yeah,
got
right.
to.
It's been a long drought, and buckle up, folks. It's gonna be a while. Is all I'm saying. We
Oh
got some picks
man.
to go, and there's a few teams I actually have ahead of the Chargers. At 18, I'd go with Indianapolis. I like the Richardson. I like what I've seen so far. I hope we get to see a full season. There's once the guy doesn't, you got to do it at least once for me to believe it. So that's what I'm really hoping we get to see with him. But I like what the Colts have up there, and the AFC South doesn't get enough recognition. You know,
Oh, I understand.
yeah.
Nice.
In 19, I think I am going to go with the Cleveland Browns. They've got problems at the quarterback, but it's a well built roster. That AFC North is every team is in the top 20. I'd have trouble arguing any team there is not in the top 20.
Gotcha. And at 19, I got the Chicago Bears. It's just not too much I can say. Like I said, I'm not a Caleb Williams fan. I'm still not a believer. He's gonna have to come out and show me. And this ain't a knock against him as a person or anything like that. It's just I've seen a lot of quarterbacks hyped up, coming out number one and be trash. Like I said, I've seen the rise and fall of Jamarcus Russells. I've seen Alex Smiths. I've seen what's the other name? Goodness gracious, he was terrible. Came from what was his name? Oh God, he played in the UFL now. He's UFL for he was St. Louis
Manziel.
quarterback. No, not Manziel,
Oh,
but even Johnny Manziel. This what is his name? His name is so Anglo, and I'm sorry if it's not coming to my mind. I'm so mad I can't remember. What is this boy's name? He went to Texas
mm, I don't.
after
Me.
Vince Young. What is that? Colt McCoy. Goodness
Oh, Colt
gracious! I
McCoy.
don't know
Yeah,
why it would not come
he's
to
still
me.
around. That's impressive. He's still playing football, actually, in any
Yeah,
capacity.
I was trying to tell you. So, anyway, I got the Bears at 19, and I don't think they're gonna do too much. And at 20, I got the Las Vegas Raiders. I
Mm.
think that they're just feisty enough and they're scrappy enough between all that's left in the AFC West. They're going to be your second team in the AFC West this year. It's going to be the Raiders.
Yeah,
Finally get that chip off my shoulder when they should have got it a year and a half ago, like I said. But other plans.
yeah, and I'm right there with you. I'm going to slide the Raiders in at number 20. I do think they are the second best AFC West team. And their biggest problem is they never figured out the quarterback. I think they got decent coaching. The coaching staff there, Pierce is pretty. I like what he's doing. He's not the greatest, but he's a players coach, and those guys always hype me up. You've seen it. Same thing happened in Detroit. They got a coach where the players like him. Andy Reid is a players coach. It's one of those
Right.
things where the guys want to work for you, and when you got that kind of a situation, it creates good football, in my opinion.
Exactly. Guys who want to play for you, they're going to actually go out and give it their all, even if it won't amount to much. But at least
Right.
you got some quality guys when you're picking through, separating the wheat from the tares, so to speak. Um, yeah, I mean, go ahead and go. So he got a 21.
I think I'm going to have to go LA Chargers just because of Herbert. If you have noticed, I haven't named a rookie quarterback yet. I'm a very show me what you kind of done kind of guy, and as much as I'm really down on the Chargers this season. I think they've taken the biggest steps back in the NFL this off season to kind of retool and reformulate. That it's going to be a rough year, but at the bare minimum, you've got the quarterback situation figured out. So I'm going to let you be at pick 21, even though it's probably two or three slots too high.
No, I understand, dude. Because when you start to get to the bottom of this thing, it's like, well, yeah, we're just when you sort through the riffraff. At
Mm,
21, though, I got the Cards. I got the Arizona
mm,
Cardinals. Tremendous upside coming into the season. You got the best receiver in the draft. At the very least, your offense should be more potent. Um, like I said, it's kind of like it kind of reminds me of the Colts situation, except for the big man at quarterback. You kind of just sure up this defense, man, and then you can kind of get this thing rolling. It should be pretty good going forward. Well, at least we're hoping. So
right.
we'll see. We'll see what happens after that. Jeez Louise.
At 22, I actually want to go Chicago Bears. This is going to be my first rookie quarterback on the list. Um, they've tried to surround him with a bunch of talent. I think there was a lot of potential with Fields. I'm worried about whether he's got every aspiration needed to be an elite level quarterback. But sometimes when you question they question that with Android 17, and we've seen he turned out all right.
Right.
You've heard that question before, and I think it's an overblown statement. So I'm going to put him at 22, and then I think at 23. Um, who do I want to go with? I think you kind of talking me into the Cards, but I don't think I want to put the. I don't want to put them there yet.
Well,
I'm
let me
not
go
there
ahead and
yet.
give. I'm gonna give you a moment then, because my 22, I got on here. I got the New Orleans Saints at 22. Because you still have a mediocre, decent esque type quarterback, and you are playing in the South. Even though I think the South is a runaway for Atlanta this year, but it still leaves the door open for you guys to be semi-competitive. And if you could just steal a few wins on the road, like you could be a playoff team easily. So, uh, but just looking at the whole thing as a product, they're trying to right the ship and get everything together to really get out the full Sean Payton there, and we'll see what it does next year with Derek Carr year two in the system.
Mm, mm.
22, baby.
Yeah, I think 23. I'm going to go Minnesota Vikings. It's just they've got a lot of the pieces in place. Potential. The rookie's got to do enough to survive. I don't think he's going to be lead, but JJ McCarthy's got a few tools. Came off of a winning team. He knows how to win. So give me them at 22 or 23. Excuse me.
Yeah, yeah, no, maybe. Yeah, we'll see what he does here because he's not highly touted, but it's them kind of guys that really come in and play with a chip on the shoulder and kind of get things done. At 23, I got the Cleveland Browns. Finally making it onto the list here. Just because Deshaun Watson is probably going to be playing, so the team won't be as good as what they should be. So it's a major knock on them and their organization, which is still by far one of the worst front offices in the NFL. I'll continue to harp on that. Like I said, you still got the worst trade in history. I don't see there's no
Yeah.
upside for them on that. So 23 is the Browns. But at least you're not as worse off as the next team that I got at 24. Did you want to go to your 24 first? Or I can just scroll right on in.
I'm just going to toss mine in real quick. The Arizona Cardinals, Marvin Harrison Jr. kept you out of a bottom 30 pick. So congrats to you guys' draft. That's all I'm going to
Good.
say about that.
And at 24, I have the Buffalo Bills right where they need to be at the end of the pack, the end of the line, the end of the caboose, if you will. What if I wish that I was more of a man of culture, that I've studied more languages so I could call the Bills trash in several languages. Because English is just not enough. It just don't cut it. Like, they're trash. Josh Allen's trash, and I know people trust. Oh, well, the quarterback makes a team. Well, when your quarterback is trash, the whole team is trash. And then I'm sorry that Josh Allen has proven me right. I'm sorry that Josh Allen's going to be the same dude that he's always been, which is Philip Rivers Junior. Junior. Like it's just what it is, bro. I would have had them lower, but there are actually teams that are worse than the Bills left. So congratulations, Buffalo. You're at 24.
And just before any comments about, oh, I can't believe you have the Bills or the Browns this low, look, my floor is probably pretty similar to exactly where you kind of have them. And I don't think that's their exact floor either. It's possible that, they even fall worse than where you have them.
Exactly.
I think my picks on them is the optimistic version. Like it's
I was
I
saying,
don't think
showing a
it's out
little
of the
love,
question.
a little
Yeah,
love.
and like the more you say it and the more you have them, I can absolutely see it. I can see us looking back next year on this. Like you folks are gonna want to and be like, damn, we're gonna point to this video. And this is just what we call proof, folks.
Yeah, long story short, that's just what it is. And my 25th place team right now is the Minnesota Vikings. You just lost too much. It's just too much going on. I know you still got Justin Jefferson. You drafted what would be your quarterback going forward. Um, it's just too much loss for the former Kings of the North, in my opinion. Too much happened there.
Yeah, and at 25, I'm going to slide in the Washington Commanders. You were kind of making a prediction off these quarterbacks at this point, and I like what they did in the draft. They kind of improved. I was actually still pretty high on Sam Howell, so I was slightly surprised they moved on from there. But I mean, you got the second best quarterback in the draft, probably. So maybe the third, in my opinion. I'm real high on Penix, but I think it could be a nice formula up in DC.
It could be. It could possibly be. It could be. I can say that it could be, but the likelihood is all I'm looking at.
Mm.
Like, it, it's anyway. Let's go. So my next one
Mm.
is I'm almost flabbergasted. So, at 20. So where was we at? We was at
I'm a,
25. Oh
yeah,
yeah, I think yeah. Oh, I gotta check my. God, I got too much
I,
going on.
I
Oh, I
think I'm
put too
at
many
20.
numbers on here.
I think I'm at 26.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we are. Cause okay, now I see my list. Vikings 25. Yeah, 26. I have the Philadelphia Eagles.
Mm.
Right
Yeah,
where you kind of needs to be. like I said, if I was more of a man with more culture, the word trash, I got to start looking this stuff up. I got to come better prepared for the folks next time. Um, Philadelphia, it's Philadelphia. They're trying. The best thing that happened to Philadelphia this year was WrestleMania. So
Oof,
goodbye, like
oof.
goodbye and good riddance. Shout out to Jason Kelsey, just off of brother affiliation. But other than that, bro, there's nothing positive I can say about the Eagles. I don't think they're going anywhere. I don't see them contending. They're gonna miss the playoff like I thought they should have last year. So Eagles, you're 26. I'm sorry. It's just what it is.
I'm actually going to have them at my 26th spot. And what I'd really like to do is go ahead and switch them with the Browns, wherever I put the Browns. I feel like this is one of those like, oops, I forgot about the Eagles kind of moments at 26. So on my actual list, I'd take a little switcheroo kind of circle there and go ahead and swap that. So we'll really put the Browns at 26 and I think the Eagles at like I think it was like 18 or whatever it was. So my bad, Eagles fans. I do have you higher than 26, but thanks to Do with the Beard, I remembered you existed. So shout out to y'all.
So shout out to y'all. Just clear cut, plain and
Yeah, right.
Uh, but yeah, moving on. So that's the 26th. My 27th team, I have the New England Patriots at 27. Um, a lot
Mm,
of stuff to figure out there. We'll still be contending in their own division because the East ain't that really that strong. So that's why we expect them to run away for the Dolphins more than likely. But like I said, man, the Patriots, there's just a lot of stuff going on, man. So they took Drake May. We'll see what happens with that. And we'll just see what happens with that. Good night. Because how far have you fallen, New England? Good night, man.
yeah, and I'm actually going to have the New Orleans Saints there. Derek Carr is the last probably veteran quarterback on the list, and that's a very unfortunate spot to be in. It's kind of where you guys are at this year.
Right, you're not lying. So the next one I have here at 28 ranked is the Washington Commanders. Just a lot of rebuilding going on. It's a lot going on. It's the same thing you can say about for the Patriots. I can't really see this team contending too much. I can see them being scrappy as usual, getting into some mixes. Jaden Daniels might be the guy to lead them forward, but I just think it's going to take more than just that to get it done. Like I said, the upside is great for them, though. I believe they have the most potential out of any of these bottom teams looking forward, really. But
Right.
we'll just have to see, man. That's what I'm saying. That's the beauty of the NFL. We'll see it come to fruition, or we'll see it fizzle out.
And that's why I'm kind of out at 28 with the New York Giants. I think there's some question marks there, but I think Vanilla Vic still might be the guy. So we'll see if they can put anything around him. I think they're going to not do it again. The coaching staff is good enough to put them at 28 for me, though.
And see, I got them at 29. I got
Mm,
Vanilla Vic at 29. And like you said, just because we've been looking for help, and I mean, offensive line help, receiver help, because you got to keep him up, and you got to let
right.
these boys try to get out there and make plays. So we'll, we'll see what happens with the Giants because there is slightly some upside. The draft wasn't too bad for them; it was slightly feasible. I think I'm still well, not I think I am still on the Vanilla Vic train, so that won't change. But I don't know, man. We'll have to see because Malik Neighbors is a bad boy, and if he can really get it done, if he can be what OBJ was supposed to be and remain healthy, I like it. LSU edition. Let's do it. Let's do it again. Run it back. That's what LSU should stand for. Let's start over. Let's see it. Let's see it unravel or whatever. We got to come up with an acronym. But
Right.
yeah, but yeah. So we'll see, man. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, and at 29, I'm going to put the New England Patriots. Everything you said about them was pretty spot on, in my opinion. A lot of questions about the coaching staff. This is basically a brand new team. We'll see what happens. So they did well in the off season, but when you move on from Bill Belichick, you lost that trump card at coach. So
Oh
we'll
yeah.
see.
Oh yeah. And number 30, I have the Tennessee Titans. They still have Will Levis. They kind of shore up their offensive line. They got the tackle that they needed with who they end up getting? I think it was they got J.C. Latham, and the only thing is missing Derrick Henry is probably going to be felt. We'll just have to see, man. We'll have to see what that running game looks like. They added who was it, Calvin Ridley that went down there and got the big contract. They
Yeah,
added L'Jarius Sneed on defense. So I mean, the AFC South could be a little scrappy. I don't know how far the Titans can really go because, like I said, I got them at the bottom for a reason. I don't really think they'll
right.
win too much. They probably won't win any games in their division. We'll just have to see, man. Goodness, the fodder. They're just yeah, fodder. They're trash. I'm trying to
Abs-
dress it up as nice. Can't dress up a turd as much as you can. You know, what I mean?
right.
It's gonna be a
And, and,
turd.
sp- and speaking of turds, at the number 30 spot, I'm actually going to put the Denver Broncos. There's a lot of turd situation on there. They did draft a quarterback in Bo Nix. Sean Payton's going to try to convince you that he's his guy, and somehow the sixth best quarterback drafted is really the best quarterback drafted somehow, which is a very rare occasion. You don't see it often. You can point to some guys that did something like that. Tom Brady, everybody passed on him. Russell Wilson was a third round pick. You didn't even, and for a while he did okay. You can find examples, but I,
Yeah.
I don't think Bo Nix was their original target. I think they're kind of settling on the only situation they can be in is a rookie quarterback, and next year's draft class is even worse. So this is what you're stuck with. Congrats on Drew Lock.
Yeah, congrats. At 31, I have the Denver Broncos. In my opinion, there's only one other team that's worse than them, and we're gonna get to that in a second. But you talk about you. In my opinion, you have an L at head coach, you got an L at quarterback, you got L at receiver. I don't know what they think they're doing. To be honest with you, I really don't. Like I said, they're just paying for past mistakes, and this has been pretty much 10 years of obscurity for the Denver Broncos, and I love every moment. I've been eating it up. I'm so
Mm,
happy, and I'm so happy that the front office keeps shitting the bed the way that they do, and I just praise the Lord for their continued success in shitting that bed. Because, dude, they're terrible. Like I said, but there's just only one other team that has left the shit in the bed and didn't even try to clean it up as much as them. And we'll get to that in a second. And it's the consensus pick because it's the only team left. And I'm sure you're right there with me. But who you
yep.
got at 31?
It's going to be the Tennessee Titans for me. They made a couple moves this offseason that you can celebrate, but let's be honest, you still don't have a quarterback. Like it's just so much poopy situation. There's questions of coaching now. Like it's just you created a really weird situation.
Boy, beyond weird, dude. Like I said, the whole yeah, the whole situation just is backwards. But like I said, they try to shore up certain things on the defense. Like I said, and that receiver. But if you ain't got a running back and more of offensive line, we'll just see what happens with Tennessee. But nobody expects them to go too far. And moving on to the consensus last team is the team that was the last team last year, and probably the last team before that. I don't know how far this record goes. It's got to be an NFL record, but it's the Carolina Panthers. Like you had the chance to get C.J. Stroud, and you shat the fucking bed. Like yeah, and I mean like that dump had to be long and super wet and spread through the sheets because you want to talk about shitting it up. Good night. There's nothing positive I could say about the Carolina Panthers. Like I don't like the quarterback, and that's just me not liking any Alabama quarterback because none of them are champions. None of them can win the big game. They hardly ever make it. Like I said, Justin Field. I mean, not just Field, but Jalen Hurts is the only guy that I can know in recent memory who's an Alabama quarterback that made it to the Super Bowl, but he still lost. And that's just
Right.
at the end of the day, they don't really turn out NFL ready prospects as far as the offensive side of the ball outside of running back and receiver. And that's just kind of what it
Yeah.
is. Um, so, like I said, they're just trash. I don't know what else to say. Like y'all picked up some people. Hoorah! I don't know. I, what are they doing, Mr. Casey? What are they doing? Like,
Well, I think what they're doing is trying to convince their fans to come to a product that is very low effort. Like you can't tell me that you're showing up to work in good conscience saying, you know what, I should charge people hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars to come watch this for a few hours.
well,
That's what you're trying to convince people that you're somehow better than a college team. Like this is one of those teams where you might be like, hey, we might take the national championship and run up against these guys because good lord, it's
because
just
why not?
uh, it's
Why
and
not?
the biggest problem is it's a dumpster fire with no end in sight, and that's a big problem.
It's
It's a
beyond a problem.
it's I don't even like I don't even really know that it'd be a hard team to rebuild at this point. Like even if you took over and wanted to Madden this franchise, like good luck, good
Right.
luck.
Yeah, because you're definitely like, you would be a bold mamma jam to pick them on Madden and do anything. Franchise mode, quick run, create a character, whatever you're doing, because you're guaranteeing yourself a career of mediocrity.
Well, the problem with the creative player with Carolina Panthers is you need more than one player. Like you're just gonna have to you're gonna have to keep creating, bro.
Oh
Like
god.
it ain't you ain't one piece away. Like we're not saying one guy is gonna magically, that's one team I think you can throw Pat Mahomes on and like it's still not gonna be pretty. Like what do you think? If your fans are out there and you're a Carolina Panthers fan, please answer this for us. This is probably going to be a dedicated video just to, like a dear Stan kind of letter to you guys to answer us. We're sitting here roasting you. What do you think? Are we spot on or are we off? Or what do you think it's going to take? Let's skip the Super Bowl.
Man.
Let's just talk making the playoffs. As a Chiefs fan, we've been in this situation before where we're like, all right,
Let's talk about getting a winning season
yeah,
first.
winning season. All right. Like we gotta start talking positive affirmations here. We gotta figure out how to get some basic levels of success. That is what Alex
Man.
Smith brought to Kansas City with Andy Reid when they first came here. It wasn't straight to Super Bowls, folks. That's not what happened in Kansas City.
Yeah,
They
it was some
rebuilt.
growing pains.
You see it with the Texans. It's not straight to the Super Bowl. There's going to be some growing pains there. And especially they got growing pains and a roadblock. It's a lot to overcome, but we'll see. So I'm right there with you. I think Panthers fans, we need to know what is the roadmap to 500. Like, how do we
Thank you.
get you?
How do
How do
we get
we?
to 500?
Yeah, we need to be the 9 wins. How do you get to Mike Tomlin basic level of
Man,
success?
man, Man, like, dude, he need to hold a coaching seminar or something, dude. I can guarantee your team at least 9 wins in the league. If you need 10 to get in, I got the secret for that too. We, because either way, with my program, you will be at least 500. You will not have a losing season.
Yeah, and I think we might even need to, formulate some kind of plan sometime where we just dedicate, some time to these Carolina Panthers, or maybe we can get a word out to the GM.
Man,
We've got some people that we suspect watch this show, so maybe you'll hear these repeats on certain shows on mainstream
man,
medias. But
Fox Network in particular.
yeah, yeah, you watch Fox if you want to hear this statement repeated. But we're gonna create a formula on how to fix these Carolina Panthers, and it might be our biggest project yet because man, it's not
A
an easy
challenge.
undertaking. Yeah, it's a challenge,
That's a challenge.
just straight up.
Might be the hardest thing we ever done. But by
Mm,
God, in the words of JR, like I said, but by God, we're gonna figure it out.
yeah,
First thing I know, the first thing you got to do. Same thing I recommended for the Chargers. I mean, good thing your shit is already smoldering, so by the time the dynamite hit the front office, it can just really hit the people and get them on out the door. New
yeah,
management's necessity. Day one information, building a franchise. Your staff. It's starting with the staff because they were obviously dumb enough not to draft CJ Stroud number 1 overall. You got to look at the staff. You got to look at your fucking scouts, because
right.
who in their life, who in their right mind went to well, I can't even remember the dude's name. Is it Taylor Young, Bryce Phillips? What's the boy name? Whatever his name is, y'all who went to this Alabama game and saw him, and then went to an Ohio State game the same year where these dudes always put up at least 55. I'm like, yeah, that dude we saw last night was better than him. Who really thought that down there? That's what I'm saying. I need to know what's going on. Who's evaluating this talent? Because obviously they done got paid by a booster, or there's some kind of family tie somewhere down the road. There's something that's tying a scout or something together that's more than just outside of rating football. Because there's no way in life with the eye test that you could have saw that quarterback and said he's better than CJ Stroud. There's just no way.
Look,
No way.
and you can swing and miss on a quarterback. It happens. It absolutely happens. But what you have to do is a similar situation to what the San Francisco 49ers did, what the Washington Commanders did when they drafted RG3. Look, this if you have a quarterback problem, you have to continuously throw the darts. Okay? You have to have plan B in place. It's really what got the San Francisco 49ers with their pants down 2 years ago. It's
Mm-hmm.
because they ran out of quarterbacks. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like it came to the situation where you thought you had your guy in Trey Lance, and I can't blame you. You looked good, right? He passes a lot of the eye test or
That and you
whatnot,
you ran Jimmy G out the building.
right? Which was still a whole nother quarterback option. And you know what they
Man,
did on top of those two quarterback options? They still used a late round draft pick to take
man,
a flyer on a guy. And they
man.
landed at least serviceable. And Carolina, you just can't even manage to
And
seem
that's
to do that. And that's you're in trouble. And when you spend that much on draft capital and you don't even have a plan B, it's time to go. It's time to wrap it up, B. Like wrap it up.
and speaking of wrapping up, folks, we're reaching the end of our time here, and I couldn't have said it more better. We wrapping that thing is wrapped.
Right.
Those are your power rankings right there. Preliminary right now, those are your power rankings 1 through 32. Consensus 1 and 32. I believe we were consensus on the first two picks, and then it's kind of scattered, but we came together at the end to tell the tale of the Trash Panthers. And that's tradition, ladies and gentlemen. I'm that dude with the beard. He's Mr. KC. This was your bold 32. Have a good night.
Oh, and a quick
Oh,
second. Shout out to everybody on YouTube and Rumble that have been following
oh
us.
yeah, oh yeah.
Rumble, I know y'all been watching the heck out of us, but shout out to YouTube. We just passed 2,000 subscribers, and we appreciate all y'all.
For sure. How could I forget? I'm so sorry. Until next time, family.